everybody. Welcome to Gatlin Bears and party. Gatlin joining us today and sharing everything with us. I hope pumped and excited about your commitment today.
Yeah, I definitely am.
Very cool. All right, so we're going to give a little background to everybody, let them know a little bit more about you and who you are. So those that aren't familiar, Gatlin's 2024 receiver, 6'2" in the 195, 196. I saw the Twitter post. You're gaining some weight there. Area, again, out of Burley High School, absolutely tore it up last year as a receiver. 73 receptions, over 1,000 yards receiving. Carried the rock out of the backfield a little bit, even through a 70-yard touchdown pass. He does it all. An average like 35, almost 36 yards per kickoff return out of the backfield. So four-star status, close to or in the neighborhood of 30 offers. Everybody was after you. Congratulations on the big season last year.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So you did all this hard work, put all this time and effort into your game. Just an overall, first of all, what was the recruiting process like for you? Being in Idaho, having all these fantastic offers, what was the overall process like?
It kind of started right after my sophomore track season. Really, started posting some pretty good times on the track. That's kind of where it kicked off. There's not a lot of attention on Idaho recruits. So you have to kind of do stuff above and beyond what the average kid's doing. And for me, showing that at elite speed is kind of what opened the gates for me. And then after that, it continued to progress once people got a hold of my film and really got to see how I played was I just kept evolving and kept growing.
So what I was asking for those that aren't accustomed to going to the games and seeing the pageantry and the fun, what is the passion and the love for high school football in your state?
It's a pretty hometown feel, I guess. There's not it's not like super large places where there's massive or fields and stuff like that. I guess in 6A Texas or anything like that, but people have a really good passion for it. People around here, it's a really good bonding thing, and it's starting to grow more and more. There's starting to be more looks at Idaho talent, things like that, and every year I think the talent and the love for football in Idaho is continuing to grow, and I'm trying to help propel Idaho and the talent that comes out of here.
So watching film on you, getting to talk to you a little bit, it stands out that you can score from anywhere on the field. You just have those jets and that speed, and that's such a big part of your game. You mentioned that your ability on track really helped propel you on the gridiron with opportunities. Talk to me a little bit about your track background. I know you were in the 100, 200, and you've put down some amazing times.
Yeah, I mean, I track's kind of been our family sport, I guess. Both my parents were track athletes in college. I've got two older brothers that are going to be competing in the SEC for the decathlon. So it was kind of just a family thing. We all really loved it, and I always competed with my two older brothers, always chasing them, always sprinting. And so that's kind of what propelled me to be as fast as I am. That kind of that brotherly and family competitiveness is what really allowed me to continue to progress as a track athlete and to really continue to get faster and faster.
So, as you've honed your skills as a receiver, are there any college or NFL guys that you're watching film on to learn more about the position?
Yeah, I mean, I love watching all sorts of different guys stuff. I've Cooper Cup's one. He's just such a good route runner, and he's very similar to my size and build. Obviously, I'm a bit faster than he is. So I like to watch faster guys too, taller guys especially. Watching how they can use their height to advantage, but also be able to sink their hips and really change direction despite being as tall and as big as they are.
Now, going into this off season, what were some of the things that you focused on to take those skills to that next level for your senior year?
I mean, I spent a lot of time really developing as a pass catcher. Developing route running ability and spending a lot of time just catching the football. Catching the ball is like a free throw. You got to do it, rep it thousands and thousands of times to get really comfortable at it. So that's kind of what I was focusing on is developing my skill set beyond just being a phenomenal athlete, just becoming a football player as well. So I spent a lot of time working on my route running ability and things like that.
So I set the groundwork for all that you did last year, throwing a touchdown pass, running the rock, going over 1,000 yards receiving. How are you going to be utilizing the Bobcats offense this year? Are we going to see a little bit of the same? Any other nuances?
Yeah, I mean, definitely gonna be moving around a lot more. Not necessarily playing just outside, being able to play all positions. I mean, maybe back, just getting my hands on the ball, things like that. Um, being able to move around and just develop as like I said, not just have one primary skill set, but being able to play at all positions and just learn the game will help me develop into a great wide receiver.
Well, let's transition from that into your recruiting. So you put out a top five: Boise State, Michigan, Nebraska, Oregon, and TCU. We'll just take them in order, alphabetical order, no order, but just kind of go
Okay.
down the line. So with Boise State, what was that? What was that process like with them being they're in your home state?
Yeah, that was one of my earliest offers. One of my oldest relationships, I guess. Um, I've known them for a very long time. Developed a really good relationship with all those coaches and things like that. So, just being the in-state team and things of that nature, developing a really great relationship with them.
And then, so Michigan, they were one of the three teams that you took official visits to. That was in at the end of June. How did that official visit go, and how did that help connect you more so with the Wolverines?
Yeah, the official visit to Michigan was great. I really enjoyed the coaching staff. That's one of the staffs that I spent a lot of time talking to as well. Um, you know, I definitely spent a lot of time talking to them. There's a lot of connections. Obviously, my head coach, coaching Colson Loveland, and Colson being from Idaho. So I had a lot of connections to them as well.
And then Nebraska, I know you didn't take an official there. New coaching staff, Matt Rule. What has you interested and excited about Nebraska through your process?
Nebraska, obviously Matt Rule being there, he's definitely going to change the program. I think they're going to be on a track to being a lot more successful than they have in the past. I have a really great relationship with Coach McGuire. I think he's one of the up and coming coaches, and he's going to be a phenomenal coach here in the next couple of years. He's very intelligent, and really good at what he does.
Awesome. All right. And then, so Oregon, second official, the Ducks, they got a lot of passion, flair, and excitement. New staff, a lot of promise on the upside. Tell us what your interest is in Oregon's program.
Yeah, like you said, they definitely have a lot of flash, but I developed a relationship with a lot of the coaches, especially Coach Lanning. I have a ton of respect for Coach Lanning and what he's doing. He's one of my favorite coaches, and I think they're going to continue to progress, towards college football playoff and things of that nature.
All right, last one, TCU. They got you down there for your first official towards the beginning of June, down there in the Arlington, Dallas area. How did that go with the Horned Frogs?
That was really good. I really liked Fort Worth, Texas. It was a really cool place. Got to talk to strength staff. They have a phenomenal strength staff. And I really like their offensive style. I felt like I would fit really good in their offensive play style and what they did and how they utilized the receiver position.
All right, one last question for you before I turn it over, and you can tell the world your your decision. But so you have your five programs. When you sat down and started thinking about the different programs, what separated that one school? It could have been a list of things, but what was it that made you feel that was the right place for you?
You know, in the end, it really came down to I guess my faith and kind of that nature. I spent a lot of times on my knees. I spent a lot of time praying, and I just felt like that was the place that I could have the biggest impact, and that I could, make a difference and really have a big impact after I was done playing football as well.
All right, Gatlin, are you ready, my man? You ready to tell everybody?
But
Got the five schools. So we got Boise State, Michigan, Nebraska, Oregon, TCU. It's up to you. Let them know how you're going to do it.
yeah, obviously, I want to thank everybody that's here right now, especially thank my family. Um, I couldn't do any of this stuff without everybody that's here right now, and you know, also thank God. He, my religion is very important to what I do, and always want to put that first. But with that being said, um, I'm going to be committing to Boise State University. Big Blue.
Awesome. Congratulations, Gavin.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's do a deep dive in here. So you're I believe, the 11th commitment for the Broncos in the 2024 class, the first four-star in this class, and I think the first four-star that they've gotten since the 2022 class. What was it? You touched a little bit on it, but what was it in the end that made you love Boise State?
It was just really personal, the connection, and it's the place that I felt like I could have an impact, obviously on the football field, but I could have an impact on the community. That's really important to me. I felt like I was given these gifts and abilities that I have, and I felt like it's up to me to give that back and to pay it forward, and just having the opportunity to do something bigger than myself is really important to me.
So you're got to be such a big recruit for Coach Andy Avalos. So with that, what's the relationship like with the head coach, the Broncos head coach?
Yeah, I love Coach Avalos, man. He actually reminds me a little bit of my high school coach right now. That he says very similar things, and he cares for me. That was one of the biggest things, talking to him, that I can really tell that he obviously wants me to be a football player for him, and do great things on the field, but he really cares for me off the field. Just in the way that he talks about me, and you know I just have so much respect for him, and I can't wait to continue to develop a relationship with him and play for him.
One other question about the Broncos. So one of the big things for all recruits is the fit and the plan that they have for you. Obviously, we lay down the groundwork. You're fast. You can blow the doors off of anybody and get downfield or go balls, corners, post, whatever. But how do they see you being that difference maker for the roster?
Yeah, I mean they always have great running backs, so obviously I'm going to be able to take the top off of them. But I think I'll be able to come in and hopefully play pretty early, and really develop. They gave me a great, they planned out everything for me. They showed me how they can develop me into a potential NFL receiver. Um, and they've definitely done a phenomenal job of showing me that path and showing me how exactly I can develop into a great. Um, and just being able to put tape on is a really important thing, and getting a lot of touches will be a big thing.
Now, so I think we have some fans that are ready to ask some questions of you. Let's see our first question. That may be coming in a minute. So we'll just keep going with this. So I know one thing that's really important, Gatlin. You have that amazing speed. So I think in the 100, 10.15 and the 200, 20.41 seconds, which is blazing. Something else that you've mentioned several times already since we've started talking is your faith. You're going on a mission. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is. I'll be leaving the very beginning of 2024, so like January, probably end of January sometime, and that'll be 2 years. So I'll be back around that same time, January of 2026.
So people may think that with you being away, that the focus or the dedication or grind's not going to be there. But I've talked to you. I know better than that. Share with everybody a little bit about what you plan to do to keep yourself, physically fit while you're on your mission.
Yeah, I mean, you have a allotted window every day that you can train, and it kind of depends where you're at in the world, based on how you can train. If you're in a foreign country, it can get a little bit more difficult, but in the end, there's not really a loss of athleticism. I've seen it a lot with my older brother. He's come back and he's way more athletic than he was when he left. Just the maturity that you have, and really the discipline allows you to come back and to get back into things so much faster, and that discipline also allows you to be such a greater athlete than you were before you left.
Well, if your Bounce Brothers film debut of all your fantastic dunks between the two of you is anything, yeah, I can't wait in whatever, a year or 2 years to see the next video when you come back and all the fantastic things you guys are doing. So
Yeah,
let's see if we can get some of the fans on here. I have to wait another minute for that. Okay. All right. Let's keep talking a little bit about you and Boise State. How have they responded? I mean, obviously they're fine with it, with you going on the mission. They shared. Oh wait, we got a fan. Here we go.
Hey, Gatlin, how you doing?
good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Well, congratulations, first of all, on your choice of school. It's a fantastic community. That's the one thing I'm not sure that you've really had the chance to experience yet. It's not just the college, but the whole community really is very kind and warm, and you're going to make fantastic friendships throughout the whole community while you're there. So, congratulations, first of all. My question to you is what do you consider to be the top two or three? Because I know we have kind of a few rivalries for Boise State.
Oh, geez. It's kind of interesting with the college football landscape right now. You don't really know what's going to happen. Um, Obviously, there's San Diego State and Fresno State are, I think, two of the biggest rivalries. Honestly, I think one of the biggest rivalries that I wish would kind of come back a little bit is BYU. I feel like that's always one of the best games to watch. Probably those three.
Sure, cool. Well, thanks a lot, man. And congratulations once again, Gatlin.
Yep, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you're going to get ready for some of those Mountain West Conference big rivalries there. Let's see if we have another live question from a fan. I don't think so quite yet. So, yeah, Mountain West Conference. There's a great opportunity for you to tear it up in there. Was there anything with the conference or the future? Because that was a great question. You kind of brought it up. You're not sure of the landscape. Was that anything that played a part in your decision?
Not really. I mean, it's hard to plan on the future. The hard to plan on the unpredictable. Obviously, it'd be great if Boise were to join a bigger conference and we could have some more Power Five games and things of that nature. But that's not really what I'm super concerned about.
Yeah, well, Boise State always seems to have a fantastic schedule, non-conference schedule. So you're going to be playing some big time programs no matter what, and
Yeah.
always seem ready to travel and take guys on. So Gatlin, you mentioned that you have your family that is a track orientated family. So for you, are you going to do both sports at Boise State? Are you going to run track and play football? What's your plan with that?
Um, I've talked about it a little bit. Nothing's really set in stone. Um, it's just really difficult to do. You just spend so much time focused on football. I've kind of talked with the Boise State staff about maybe running some professional meets during the summer and things like that. It's just really difficult to run during the spring. Maybe some indoor meets and stuff like that. It's really just going to depend on how I'm developing when I get back and where I feel that I'm at.
Is there any chance of you have you thought about it? You don't have to declare anything right here or now, but have you thought about going pro with your track, or are you just going to kind of wait and see what happens?
Yeah, it's going to be kind of a wait and see what happens. The main thing is the main thing, and that's that I'm going to be a football player. So my main goal is to be a professional football player, not a professional track athlete. Um, so if an opportunity presents itself, obviously I'll never turn it down. But right now my focus is to play college football and to be a professional football player.
You got a lot of opportunities coming up either way you go. So for the fans out there, there's a raise your hand button. If you have a question for Gatlin, click the button, raise your hand. Let us know what your questions are. So until we get that next question, so Gatlin, through the recruiting process, what was the hardest thing for you? Five fantastic schools. You have the in-state school. What was the hardest part of the recruiting process?
Um, you know, just picking one school. There's so many so many great universities and so many great football programs. Just picking one school is so difficult. You build all these great relationships and you have so much respect for all these schools and all these coaches, and telling the rest of them no, and deciding that you're going to only play for one is a very difficult thing to do. And I have a ton of respect for all the other coaches and all the other universities.
So let's talk a little bit more high school ball. You guys open up on the 25th, I think, with Mountain Home, right?
Yeah.
Or Mountain View. Maybe it's a home game for you. I know that. But so how hyped is the team this year? I know you had a winning team last year. How hyped are you guys going into the season, and how's the team looking right now?
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Last year was kind of the first year that I was part of the team, and the first year that we had an entirely different coaching staff, and things like that. So I feel like there's been a ton of development and growth that every single football player on our team has had. Just learning the offense, especially. I feel like we've really opened up the offensive playbook. We averaged like 50 something points last year, but I think our offense last year was just a small portion of what we have to offer this year. So I'm super excited about our offense, especially. And then Coach Anderson's taking over the defense, and I'm super excited to compete against them every day. I kind of feel bad for them. They're going to get torched a little bit at practice, but hopefully they can step up at games and things like that.
Awesome. Just a reminder for the fans, click the button, let our producers know that you want to ask Gatlin a question and talk to him about his commitment to Boise State. So Gatlin, keeping with that, so the fan asked you about some of the rivalries for the Broncos. So you guys got some non-conference games, your conference games. Are there any big rivalry high school games coming up for you that you are excited about?
Yeah. I mean, we've got Minico every year. That's a kind of the one of the premier rivalries in Idaho. So I'm super excited for that game. Hopefully, get a win in that game. That's a really big game for us. Minico's always one of the best teams in the state, so that's going to be a super fun game, and it's at our place this year.
Excellent. So I have a fan question for you, Gatlin. I'm going to read it off. So here's the question. What is Gatlin's favorite moment as an athlete for himself? And congrats on your commitment to Boise State. But what's your favorite moment as an athlete?
Ooh, probably state track this year. Broke the state records in the 1 and 2, and that's been my goal for a really long time. And it was just a really cool moment. Not necessarily even like just breaking the record, but after I broke the record, just going and seeing my parents and giving them hugs. Just so much time has been put in from them to me, and I was just so grateful for them, and that's probably the coolest moment in my career so far.
Now, this is a really tough question. It's a really hard question, so you have to bear with me. So, Gatlin, you have siblings at other SEC schools. If Boise State plays one of those SEC schools, what's your parents going to do?
Well, they're track athletes, so it they'll probably be all in on Boise State for me, but um, I'd like to think they'd root for me if I was playing, but we'll see what happens.
We're not going to see split shirts, right? Like, one half of the shirt Boise State and the other half another the SEC program or something like that. So,
Yeah, we'll see.
well, you don't want your siblings to get a hard time, right? For the parents. So, um, Gatlin, with everything, uh, so you're going to report in 2026. With that, like, are there already different drills that that you're going to want to do by yourself? Like, have you kind of mapped that out? I know the workout is important for you, but what about as far as a receiver? Getting in and out of your breaks, running your routes, keeping those crisp. Have you kind of started mapping out your plan for that?
Not yet. A lot of it's gonna come down to where I end up going. You know, the resources in every place can be drastically different. So, um, I know the one thing that I can do anywhere I go is sprint. I'm gonna be doing a ton of sprinting and jumping, and that'll keep my speed and just my overall athleticism. Definitely gonna bring some tennis balls or things like that, and continue to work on my hand-eye coordination and make sure I can still catch the ball and things like that though.
Nice. Um, so, with your ability, I'm just imagine that. I mean, I watched the film. You can see safeties cheating and coming over. What are some of the coverages that you're seeing, and how have you prepared yourself for what you may see again this year? I mean, it's almost like you played basketball, run a box and one on you or something like that. What kind of coverages are you expecting this year?
Yeah, I mean, I see some crazy coverages a lot of the time. Safeties at like 20 yards, things like that. Um, and it can get a little crazy. A lot of it comes down to not worrying about what the defense is doing. If you execute everything, a lot of it comes down to the offensive calls and things like that. And I feel like we've spent a ton of time this offseason, my offensive coordinator, and really focusing on that. And one of the biggest things is just being able to move me around. Make sure the defense can't get complacent in one certain type of coverage. Me being able to move around and play all sorts of different positions will allow me to kind of get away from the defense and make sure the other team's defense coordinator can't sit in one specific defense, and always keep them on their toes, always keep them guessing.
Awesome. All right, I think we have another fan question here for you from Spencer.
Hey, Gatlin. Twitter's blowing up right now, man. Boise fans are so excited to have you. I just want to throw in a plug. On your mission, you're going to have to think about how you can bribe your companions to wake up a little bit earlier so you can get that training in. My question for you is, do you have a number picked out for when you're up with the Broncos?
Not necessarily. I kind of like to think that I might wear number 2. It's kind of been a legacy number at Boise State. That's kind of why I wore it in the photo shoot. Coach Miller wore number 2, and all the recent receiver greats at Boise State have worn number 2. So I might keep that tradition alive and put on the number 2.
Awesome.
Spencer, do you have another question? I think we lost Spencer. All right, Gavin. Yeah, so that fantastic to keep that legacy alive with the receiver number 2. Um, what about workouts? We've talked about what you're going to do. I guess once you sign that the Broncos strength and conditioning staff, have they talked about that they're going to give you a workout that you can do? Again, I know you've already said it twice that it depends on the country and the access that you have, but have they said that they'll have workouts for you over the next 2 years?
Yeah, definitely. They'll, I'll be able to talk to them a ton and be able to pick their brains of certain things that I can do.
Have they given you any, so the connections that you built with the coaches there, are they already kind of coaching you up and talking to you and telling you like little tips about what you can do to improve upon with your game?
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, within NCAA rules and things like that. A lot of it, they have a lot of trust in my high school coaches as well. They've got a great relationship with them, and they really trust what my high school coaches are doing right now. So I think they're more, trusting my coaches to develop me right now, and that when I get there, they'll be able to get their hands on me and really help me develop.
Awesome. So now that you're a Boise State Bronco, are you going to start helping recruit others to bring even more talent in for the 2024 class?
Yeah, absolutely. I got to get with Coop and get on their board and see who they're high up on right now, especially in the 2024 class and even going into the 2025 class. I'm going to try to get to a bunch of games and meet up with a bunch of recruits and get the classes as strong as we can.
It's kind of an overlapping because we've already talked about it. Well, wait, hold on. We have another caller here. We got Aiden. Aiden,
Hey,
go ahead. Good question.
What's going on?
Hey, so I got a question for you. Can you hear me fine?
Yep.
All right. So you grew up in the small town of Burley, Idaho, right?
No, I grew up in Kimberly. And
Oh,
moved
right.
Yep.
I want to know, what were the activities you did in Burley? What was it like growing in a small town like that?
In Burley, in Idaho, you mean? Just in
Right, the
general?
weird, yeah, just like Burley, Idaho, yeah.
It was activities as far as what?
What'd you do on the Saturdays? Because there's not a lot to do in Idaho, right? Especially in a small town.
Honestly, just played sports. Ran track. Played with my brothers. That's kind of my getaway is sports, and so that's always what I do. I don't have a lot of free time.
Right on. Well, that's all I have. Good luck on the blue. Welcome to the team.
Thanks.
So getting back to about recruiting there, Gatlin, and recruiting others, again, it may be kind of redundant here, but when you start talking to guys, and you may not have formulated this quite yet, but what's the pitch? Why Boise State? Why should these guys come join you?
I think Boise is going to start taking off here. I think with the college football playoff expanding, Boise is going to have a shot at making that every year and really growing the brand. I think Boise State's unique in the fact that they don't take a lot of transfers. They really pride themselves in taking guys and developing them. So it's a really strong brotherhood. Guys are there, 4 or 5 years, 3, 4, 5 years. There's not a lot of fluctuation between players and coaching staff. So there's just a really great connection between the players and the staff that is very unique to Boise, and not a lot of other places have that.
Now, I know you're only allowed so many tickets as a student athlete that's allowed, but for the home games, especially for your first home game with all your family and friends there in the state of Idaho, about how many ticket requests do you think you're going to get when you come back and you play
Yeah,
that?
it's going to be a lot. Yeah, we'll see. I'm sure it's going to be a pretty high number, though.
You gotta, maybe start kind of letting everybody know that, when your birthday's coming up, Christmas, whatever the case may be, present
Yeah,
opportunities, that you're making a list, and you'll have some stuff ready for those for your debut when the time gets there.
yeah.
So
As long as I give tickets to my mom and dad, I don't think the rest matters.
there you go, there you go. When you sit there and you kind of envision yourself as a collegiate athlete, um, what are some of the goals? I mean, you're going to have to put your head down and start all over when you level up. But what are some of your collegiate goals? If you're there 3 years or 4 years, have you started thinking about what you want to accomplish when you're in college?
Yeah. I mean, obviously the goal is to get drafted. Hopefully get drafted pretty high. Obviously everybody wants to get drafted in the first round, but we'll see. So that's always the goal, get drafted in the first round. But I'd love to, hopefully break some records at Boise State. We'll see how I develop once I get back. I'm not expecting to, be the best player or anything like that when I get there. Everybody knows as soon as you get to college, hype from being a recruit doesn't really matter. What matters is really putting your head down, working and earning those roles and earning the playing time. So, I'd like to break records and get drafted high, but I know that it's going to take a lot of work to get there, and it's not going to be a very easy path. So I guess specific goals, no. But I definitely know that it's going to take a lot of hard work, and I want to be as successful as I can be.
I imagine you're probably one of the most popular people in the state of Idaho, given all your accomplishments on the field. And I think that's going to get ramped up a little bit more now that everybody knows you're staying home for college. What do you think is going to be like going to? I mean, I don't even. Actually, that's a good question. What is it like for you now, or leading up to your commitment, when you went to the grocery store, or went to get gas and put in the car, or something like that? Is everybody like, we want you to stay home, go Broncos, or what was that like for you?
I mean, not really. There's a lot of people that aren't really college football fans. There's a lot of people that know me. When I go to, I guess, sporting events and things like that. But just that everyday life, I don't get. I'm not LeBron James. I don't get stopped everywhere I go. But, maybe if I keep playing better and stuff, that might get a little worse. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, I'm sure you're going to get lots of love from the fans, the Broncos fans that are there in state. Um, well, Gatlin, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming on here with Prediction and sharing your commitment with us and with the fans. Wish you nothing but the best this year in high school when you go on your mission and when you return, and start lacing up the cleats with Boise State.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
All right, Gatlin. Again, congratulations. Enjoy the day, my man.
Yeah, see ya.